Chicago and the surrounding suburbs have begun to experience shorter and shorter winters because of climate change. This has a significant effect on the local environments and ecosystems. We've begun to see that spring has started even sooner than it normally does, and fall has begun to end even later than it normally should. This drastic change on the seasons has a severe impact on the local environment, but more specifically, the forests in the Chicagoland area. The first major effect of this change in winter length is that plants begin blooming earlier and earlier into the year. While this may seem insignificant at first, in all reality, this has a very, very bad effect on the plants and the animals that survive only off of those plants. This is especially bad for animals that depend on seasonal changes, like those that go through hibernation and the migratory bird species that are native to Chicago, such as ducks and songbirds. This has a very bad effect on the entire ecosystem as a whole, just because of the small impacts on these very few groups of animals. The forests are badly affected because of the birds. The reason for this is that the birds have to change their migration patterns because of the seasons. They are a big part of how tree seeds are transported and planted, and because of these change in migrational patterns, they won't match up with the trees anymore. This causes fewer trees and plants to grow, which then decreases the amount of food in the forest. This is a pattern that will continue until something else changes. Because of the large amount of birds that live in Chicago, the change in migration patterns will begin to affect the amount of nutrients that are decomposing at one particular time. This has a significant effect on the decomposers and scavengers that live in Chicago. The coyotes, for instance. Overall, the change in climates and seasons is a very bad thing for the overall health of the forest. We can see this through the animals that depend on the seasons to survive, to the transfer of seeds throughout the ecosystem. As the migratory animals begin to change, the rest of the ecosystem must change with them.